Hi everybody, welcome to RaceRoom. We're having a look at the December 2024 update that dropped last night. Of course, a big week for simulators being updated with this game, AMS2 getting its 1.6 update, and overnight I think iRacing got its updated time model and new debris model as well. So good to see the developers still working very hard on their simulators, trying to make them the best they can, and of course they've all got excuse me, very different ideas of what they want to do with the simulator. But I do love KW Studios who do this game. They're a very small studio, still working very hard. We've got a huge update at the start of this year for RaceRoom with the physics, where the time model reached what they call maturity, where that means it's as good as the developers think it can be. So they won't work anymore on the time model, and it is absolutely fantastic. The AI bump into each other there. For me, the best drive in sim racing, even overtaking R Factor 2 after that update back in January. Really good drive. The game I feel most connected to when I'm driving, especially the old retro cars. But there's been some fairly decent updates the last couple of months as well, of course. I did have the graphical update, which is more of just a little bit of a tweak, bit of a shader update, took away a lot of that yellowness. The game does definitely look a lot better. We've got some new skyboxes as well for the clouds and so on and so forth, and some day-night transition. So big hope next year, of course, with them moving to DirectX 12 from DirectX 9, that there'll be even further graphical updates and more goodness, and hopefully, maybe, fingers crossed, some weather on the horizon as well. That would really elevate this sim to the next level, that's for sure. It's got a fantastic multiplayer setup in terms of its netcode. I think this is probably the best netcode I've found in sim racing, even being based here in Australia and mainly driving through European servers. You can race wheel to wheel with people and not have that netcode issue as a general rule. And so what do we get in the December update? So a few updates to tracks. We've got Monza and Watkins Glen being updated to their 2024 specifications. They're a free update, and there's a heap of other little minor updates to circuits, even here at Bathurst. More to do with just some textures around the track and little bits and pieces, not the actual track itself, just the general vibe of the track, I suppose. And of course the big update that everyone was waiting for were these Super Tours, and the anticipation built, especially after they dropped the DTM content a couple of months ago, because RaceRoom does retro stuff really well, and that was hugely successful for them, the DTM content. As I'm getting massively outbraked here by the AI. But these cars, of course, little 2-litre front-wheel drive. And we're at Bathurst because back in the late 90s, or mid to late 90s, there was a bit of a split in Australian motorsport with the governing bodies. And we had 2 Bathurst 1000 races there for a couple of years. We had the official Bathurst was actually the Super Tours. And then the V8 Supercars ran their own event a couple of weeks later. But the official Bathurst for I think 2 or 3 years there was the Super Touring with the international cars and international drivers. Wasn't a huge fan at the time of these cars. I didn't really appreciate what they were and the skill of the drivers and the great racing as well. So I was so deeply embedded in the V8 Supercar world. But definitely as I got older, you absolutely appreciate this series more and more. I'm in this Oryx Audi. This is one of the iconic, always picture Brad Jones when I think of Super Touring here in Australia. Brad Jones is the first guy that comes to mind, who of course now runs the V8 Supercar team, but for me he is the one that was always associated with Super Touring back in the day. And I love this Oryx Audi livery. Try and stay ahead of the AI here. Yes, this pack was about $35. I did get the Silverstone circuit as well, so I think the cars by themselves were about $23 Australian, plus I then got the Silverstone circuit to go onto it. I think it's definitely worth it. Fantastic. The cars look absolutely amazing. The liveries are absolutely superb. And besides this car pack, we also do have some exciting stuff in terms of debris. We'll talk about iRacing's new debris model, but RaceRoom now has dynamic surface interaction. which means that cars can drag dirt and muck and rubbish onto the road, and that will affect the grip levels apparently, so that's very exciting. AMS2's had that for quite a while, and it does it really well, especially when it rains. I remember a race in AMS2 at Suzuka down at the Degner corners, and cars were dragging muck and rubbish all over the road, and you could see that on the road, and when you drove through you can definitely feel the difference in the grip level. So apparently that's coming here to RaceRoom as well, so as the cars go across the dirt they will drag muck and rubbish on there, and it should affect the grip levels. The AI are absolutely belting each other up ahead here. Also made some improvements to tyre marks and how they get rendered on the ground as well. So those little sort of quality of life things that just bring a circuit alive and bring the racing alive. So you would have noticed in this one a lot of dust and rubbish being kicked up by the cars. So just little cool little features like that. All adds to the immersion. I don't think these cars are as good to drive as the DTM stuff that dropped a couple of months ago. I don't feel, yeah, it's just not as nice to drive as those cars. Could also be a setup thing as well. I haven't really dove in. I've just literally downloaded the cars and loaded them up to do a couple of videos here for YouTube, so a bit of tweaking may be required. And also, as part of that dynamic surface interaction update as well, they have apparently updated how the cars react to the road surface. So a bit like that hysteresis word you may have heard with the AMS2 update in terms of how the tyre interacts with the tarmac. That's apparently part of this update as well, so that should increase that feel, but this has always felt the best anyway, so it still feels good to me, even on my mid-level CSW 2.5 wheel. See if I can actually get the brakes right down here. I'm getting massively outbraked here by the AI. As we throw some dust in the face of our opponent there. So yes, another fantastic little step forward here from RaceRoom in this update. Definitely worth buying the car pack if you're a fan of these Super Tourers. RaceRoom DLC is pretty expensive compared to the others, but as I said, don't mind throwing some money towards a smaller developer. There we go, 3 laps there at Bathurst. RaceRoom 2024 update, check it out. Thanks for watching guys, and take care.